like this, as Fearless does like dipping in and out, really forcing some plays out. You do have this combo to Faceless Void, Chrono plus Bloodright is pretty nice. It's not the most potent, but it's there on hand. TNC again piling on that Faceless Void counters, Venge coming out. So another way of saving people caught in the Chrono, swap them out, save him, or just swap the Void out to somewhere far.
Yeah.
That should be probably the core Venge here for KP, and MG.Trust again changing up their draft. Going into the Sansa that we've seen a couple of times. Now, this is actually really nice with an Earth Spirit support. You've got potency to play fast and get the instacks, but TNC not waiting around as well. Venge Medusa comes out, so maybe looking at the playbook that Boom used to run.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting draft here from TNC. In all fairness to TNC, there's not much in the way of kind of breaking the gap they're up against the Medusa, so it does seem like a pretty nice pickup. Of course, with the Void, I suppose you can commit the Chrono, but assuming that Gabby or Armel does get the Stone Gaze off in time, the Chrono just gets wasted completely, and there's not really a way to block that Stone Gaze off. You can't just BKB and ignore it. It doesn't work. It goes through everything, so could be a tough game for Motivate.Trust up against this Medusa. I did like the Silencer, though. At first, I was a little bit shocked to see it, but up against the Oracle, Venge, and Snapfire, obviously the Global Silence is very strong, and even during the laning phase, the support's Silencer is extremely good at just securing a lane. But they are going to need something to deal with this Medusa. Maybe it's about that point where you say, let's throw Masaros Void again, and maybe pick up the Jackie Peel.
It could work. I just worry again about a Fearless Bloodseeker. Not that he won't deliver, but the timings might be a bit too tight between a Faceless Void off and a Bloodseeker mid. I think we're looking for something that can actually move around. You'd only have the Earth Spirit to kind of set up for you. The Void can maybe time walk in, but it isn't the easiest when there's a Snap, Oracle, and Venge, and the Medusa now. But it's very possible that they could just kind of shift that around, get the PL last, and you can see the LC ban out. That's something we see sometimes picked into the PL. So it looks like MG.Trust might be sneaking around for that. TNC though, I think they lack the Armel hero unless they're going Armel Medusa, but they have a couple of options. Interestingly, the Kunkka has been left if they want to run Kunkka Medusa Venge. Just to have more durability, tie into the team fight, have the X to control anyone trying to run off. That would be pretty good as well. And the durability is always nice with the Kunkka, and Armel loves that hero.
Yeah. TNC, final pickup.
Oh,
They do go for the Mars, so that should be the KP hero right there, and it's going to be pretty strong with the Snapfire combination, obviously, out from TNC. So, is this a mid Snapfire and maybe a safe lane Medusa we're seeing? Because they don't seem to have a proper position 1 unless they ran the safe lane, do some mid Mars, and say gave KP the off lane Venge, and just
yeah,
kind of
I
made
think
him a bit of an aura bot.
I think that's the game plan for TNC. That feels more in line with how they've been playing. I'm expecting the Tim Snap in this game, the Whitemon Oracle,
Right.
which are more in line with how they play around. Tim's does like being active. Snapfire is a very active support in the 4. And that should be the way they're going to lean that. We'll see. TNC has that flexibility on hand that MG.Trust has to figure out as well, because they've also got this flexible draft. Maybe not the supports. They're definitely tied in. But the Bloodseeker Void can still shift between safe and off. And they're still looking for something from Masaros. There's just a really good team fight here from TNC. We're talking about Arena plus Stone Gaze plus Kisses. It's the Kisses Arena combo as well. Really potent for TNC. MG.Trust need to be able to break that up. Silencer is pretty darn good, as you mentioned. Getting the GS off is going to break that team fight. But I'd like to see a little bit more hammered in. I think they're going to need some good follow-up. Zeus comes out.
Okay. I mean, it is a very fast-paced lineup from Motivate, and I did get my wish from earlier on, by the way, John. We get to see the Jackie Void come out, which is something I really enjoy watching. The Fearless Zeus, we've seen this before. He does perform very well on this hero, and you don't really have a way to drain the mana of the Medusa, but on the brighter side, you have a hell of a lot of damage to get through the mana shield anyway. And a bit of a global strat if you consider the Bloodseeker Earth Spirit as well. It's not 100% global, but it's kind of like they can close the gap really quick. So overall, I do like both drafts. I'm kind of torn as to which one's a bit better. There's so many little factors that matter here. Of course, with TNC being that RML needs to get that farm and XP up ASAP, Motivate can't really let that happen. That's probably the biggest factor for both these teams.
Yeah, it's all down to the Medusa. Now, you mentioned mana burning. I think, honestly, if you keep the aggression up here from MG.Trust, like say always have Boombell rotate and find a kill on the Medusa, you can take away her mana pool by a substantial amount. That could help. It's just, that's a very hard ask. That means they will have to play perfectly around these timings here on MG.Trust side. They do have the draft that wants to be a bit more aggressive. Like, yeah, you have scaling with Faceless Void. We've already talked about what makes it so hard for the Void in this game, because you've got Oracle, Venge, and Snap to make it living hell to kind of catch these heroes out. Even the Medusa. Like, if she's outside the Chrono and she just gets to press her ult, gets the Stone Gaze off, suddenly the Faceless Void's not in a very comfy spot. So there's just a lot here Jackie has to do to maximize this Void as the game goes on. I think they will want to play this a bit fast here on MG.Trust side. And TNC, they've got this pretty good team fight coming out as well. Snap, Oracle, Stone Gaze, Arena coming through here. They've got the second life that Whitemon can bring out, and we know how Whitemon plays that Oracle. He's just as good on that Oracle as well. Really on point. They've also got a natural way to kind of take out the magic damage. If the Fate's Edict goes off, then suddenly that magic burst you get from the Zeus is also taken away. So it's going to be a very strong back and forth between both sides, and at the least should make it a very exciting game one.
Motivate.Trust, they seem very, very happy with the Lakad Maratag spam, and I should really learn how to pronounce that properly. Ogre King.
Yeah, again, he keeps saying that every time against MG.Trust.
Isn't that for Masaros, though? Or is it for Jackie? I thought it was for Masaros.
It should be for Masaros, but Jackie's taking it now himself.
Whitemon. He's always starting problems, Whitemon. He's a real troublemaker, this guy. Speaking of, did he hit the Rosh?
No, he didn't.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't want to win. Come on, Whitemon. You want to win? You gotta hit that Rosh.
Watching this man very carefully, just trying to figure it out. He's not going to hit the Rosh this game. Not yet anyway. He's got 22 seconds to make it before this bounty rune spawn. After the bounty rune spawn, it really doesn't matter anymore. Whatever it is he does, that is.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Lon and Duna will never leave us. Jeez.
Yeah. We'll always remember them. Even if they are casting mobile games now. Jackie is going to stand there and say, hit me, guys. I'm just going to travel back in time.
Yeah, honestly, I thought for a second we were going to get the full disconnect again from MG.Trust, so thankful it doesn't happen, because that would have been very unfortunate for Jackie. You got to love what Timps is doing, just exerting his dominance, just kind of showing up, copying a tower hit, which is never nice, but this dual lane, though, for TNC, right? Venge, Snap, you've got the stuns coming out. Level 2 is going to be a big spike once you have a cookie value point, but Boombelt's not going to make that easy.
And Whitemon's still around as well, John. They're going to try and go onto the Silencer. He's still trying to fight back after Tim's, but Boombel is going to go down as first blood. Jackie going to try and get a trade, but he doesn't have bash up yet. He did go for that level 1 time walk, and he's going to take a lot of harassment out on his way out. Even a Fortune's End to follow him down. And Whitemon, is he going to stick around here, John? On the Oracle, are they going to really just keep a trial lane going, or is he going to head down bot to help out? Oh, Gabby is playing the Mars.
Yeah, they've
okay.
swapped around again. It's it's interesting lineup here from TNC, but I think this is perfectly fine, right? Like, you're still going to get some good spikes as that Mars. You get to leave him alone. He doesn't care too much about laning against Masaros and Q. Gabby just wants to find some steady farm. You don't want to cop all the spells like this, though, but again, he's really just trying to make some space out. They just want to slow Jackie down. You mentioned it, right? But they know what MG.Trust does with a safe lane faces Void, and they're doing all that they can to ensure that Jackie does not get a game here at all.
Absolutely. I like it. I mean, it's weird to see a safe lane Mars from Gabby, but if it means Jackie can't farm, I'd say that is the kind of winning ingredient here for TNC, but that's going to be a nice kill onto Whitemon with the rotation out from Q, just to make sure they had enough damage, and that'll mean Boombill can get his first bit of stolen in on the silencer, which is always going to be very nice. But let's have a look at the mid lane as well, John. Mid lane, Armel and Fearless up against each other. Armel on the Medusa should not really be too concerned about Fearless, I don't think. He hasn't really gone for the mana shield yet, but he'll have time to get it later on. He doesn't really need it for this laning stage.
Nah, it's a steady farming lane for Armel. Has to watch how low he is though. Fearless has been pretty on point with harassment, but it's gonna be even overall. You're not lagging too far behind as Fearless. The power runes are important, but it's a little bit more important for Fearless compared to Reducer. You do want the Zeus to, maybe get that fast bottle, keep the spell spam up. You do still have 2 mangoes here on Fearless, but he's down to just a Fairy Fire. Armel is all out of regen though, but he has a wand. So you've got a back and forth here in the burst healing options, and so far so good. I think you are perfectly fine with this pace. As long as Armel doesn't get any rotations in from the opposing supports, especially that Earth Spirit, you're fine with just this lane going steady.
Yeah, bot lane's been just evening out quite a bit. Gabby's he's ahead by 6 last hits, and that's kind of to be expected. Masaros, he can spam Blood Rite and sustain himself, but Gabby is just going to be able to freely farm as well on this Mars. And so it does feel like this game so far is going the way of TNC, just based on how slow the game is right now. It's always going to favor this kind of Medusa draft. Well, I do like the fact as well that TNC has not had to give up. Well, they actually do now. I was going to say they didn't have to give up the tri lane, but it looks like they don't bother with it anymore. Perhaps feeling like they've done enough, and they're just setting up stacks all over the map for Medusa. Like, KP sets up the triangle stacks. Whitemon went down south and set up some stacks down at the bot lane. And I believe we also had our Snapfire Tim's doing the exact same thing somewhere. Just don't know where he stacked.
Yeah, it's a good amount of gold that can come out now for Armel, and they're rotating in. Good scan out to protect their Zeus, so Fearless is not going to get caught in gank suspecting something. But TNC is still perfectly happy with this. With the breakup of the tri lane up top, though, Jackie does get a little bit more farm now. They did kind of make it a tri lane. They dragged Q up top as well, but he's not done anything. He hasn't been able to rotate for those power runes as well. So it's been a rather slow start for MG.Trust in terms of getting the aggression off with the Earth Spirit. And you can see here, they're going to try to camp Fearless.
I like that a lot. Fearless going to get rooted in place. Is going to think about going back for the bounty, but definitely can't. Cooking up from Tim's as well. Whitemon setting up very nicely here, and Fearless, he's trying to fight back, but he cannot, and that is a massive pick-off to get for TNC. And might I add, John, I really like this switch up in play style here for TNC. Very different, but it seems very versatile. Yes, they are putting all their bags in the... all their eggs in the Armel basket, but it's a nice basket.
Yeah, it's a basket you can trust. The Medusa is just so sturdy, scaling into late. It's one of those heroes that, honestly, I'd say scales really well, like Kafesa's Void does, just because of the nature of Stone Gaze. Piercing BKB, it's always going to be relevant. You've got this split shot built into you as well, so you can definitely just drag this game as long as you want here for TNC. And you have to remember, they've got the Venge from KP. So it's the Medusa Venge strat that at some point starts to play together. MG.Trust for their part, I think we do want to see a little bit more activity from Q once they hit some level 6 spikes, like 6 on Fearless, 6 on Jackie. We want to see those first Chronos line up. Even a support kill with a Chrono, you're just going to be happy finding something on the map.
Yeah, everything going smoothly. Boombill gonna spot out the stacks that were being made now, so can relay that information onto his team and let them know they probably need to go ahead and steal those stacks ASAP. Problem is, the only way you can steal them is either Fearless or Masaros going into that triangle. So top lane, Tim's gonna get rolled on here, but KP is gonna rotate to try and help, but Fearless commits the ulti Does get Tims, and now the Chrono even being committed just to make sure they can kill off KB. The damage is going to be a little bit slow as he's not getting any bashes, but Jackie does still get the kill. Boombill will get himself +4 in, and why is Avenge Remnant on top of the cliff?
I have no clue. She died, you know, KP died right next to it. It spawned a bomb. So you can't do anything with it, unfortunately.
Well, bot lane, Gabby setting up a kill there on the Mars. He does end up catching out Masaros. It looks like Masaros was trying to steal away the stacks that were made for Armel down at that southern side of the bot lane.
Triangle, Mike. They're taking the
nice.
stacks away.
Well, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Neutral item, Fearless. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, Fearless, he didn't want to pick that up for that reason. It's like my idiot supports don't take the neutral item and now I die.
Sounds like you've experienced this, Mike.
Well,
Sounds
I don't...
like it. Except aren't you supposed to be the idiot support, Mike?
Well, you didn't have to point that part out, John. I was going to pretend like I was the mid player, but I don't play mid. I am usually the idiot support. That is correct. So my SCA mid player would now be running down the mid lane, just shouting out things in different languages that I'll never understand. It's a terrible experience. Thank you.
Oh?
Get a lot of damage put onto him. Whitemon setting up another kill here, and Armel will be able to take it. Armel probably not very happy right now, considering he did spot out his stacks being taken, but he can still go back for the ancient stacks. They're a bit too hard for the Zeus to take out by himself.
Yeah, it's going to be an opportunity here for Armel if he wants to. Now, MG.Trust, again, we've talked about them having to play with these ults. They are fairly long cooldown, but Fearless will have Thunder God soon. So you want to see these supports line up. They are looking up top. They haven't left top in a while. They'll go on Tims.
Nice roll onto Tims. Boombill loving all this intelligence he's been able to get for himself. Does get more, but here comes Gabby with a great arena out. The time walk out from the Void will ensure that Jackie gets away, but they do at least kill off Boombill and maybe even Q as a swap is there from KB, but Q going to try and roll away. Gabby does have the damage up though. Now the Thunder God's Wrath going to kill off KB. Gabby is happy to man fight Jackie. Jackie does not want any part of it though. Overall, I think they're still going to be pretty satisfied on both sides with the kills that did occur, as you are giving those kills away to both position ones on either team, so not really bad news for anyone.
No, definitely not. I think the biggest takeaway here for TNC is that they are just really buying space for Armel. Like, this guy is just not getting threatened at all. Free to stay in his triangle, free to farm mid. And his team might be falling around him, but we saw MG.Trust pulled off this kind of playstyle before. It was Jackie's PA in that first game. This time around, Armel is making the most use of his space, finding so much farm. And we saw MG.Trust contest once. They need to keep control in the jungle, and Gabby.
He's going to get rolled on. That's a much bigger kill to get. And Gabby, he does not want to lose intelligence to Boombill, but it looks like he has no choice in the matter. He is going to get caught out. Nice pick up there from Motivate.Trust. 10 stolen int for Boombill already. He's getting smarter and smarter every day, John.
That he is. It's a very good early start here for its Silencer. And you know, we kind of talked about the Silencer scaling nicely into late. You don't really need to itemize for damage. Your damage is going to scale. You're draining the mana pool of these heroes, like, say, the Mars you just mentioned.
Chrono. Jackie, he sees a target. He'll take the easy kill onto Tims. Jackie will pick up the kill. And that's another thing I really enjoy about Jackie Void, is he doesn't hesitate to throw out the Chrono. Even if it is a support kill, it's worth it, especially after the bad start he has had.
Yeah, so it's what you like to see, you know, not scared of committing, just finding kills, making yourself low.
Fearless, big trouble. He'll go for a TP out with the Global Silence to protect, and now Masaros, they're going to cancel the TP and turn back around now with the Rupt Shroud on KB. Roll out from Q. KB still dropping, does go down, but now the Spear in onto Masaros. They will get the Bloodseeker into Q. He's trying to run. He's probably going to die, and does to Whitemon. Overall, still a very positive trade out for TNC. Fearless, he is going to eventually have to run himself back to the fountain, but looks like he is considering sticking around to try and defend that mid-tier 1 tower a little bit. But the creeps will be fortified, and TNC, they aren't going to back. They really are going to commit for this.
Yeah, they want that objective, start melting down Towers opening up the jungle, contesting that farm they want to build up for Jackie. So it's not a smooth ramp up here for MG.Trust. It's not going to be a free run for Jackie. He still has, good timing on that massive madness. He swapped lanes.
Top lane.
He's trying to shove in bot, although.
Gabby, we got a pause out. Gabby, he's got a nice spear off here, but this pause might mean some rotations come in onto Gabby now. Mind you, it is TNC pausing, so I don't want to see the chat saying, tactical pause. It's definitely not very good for TNC, this pause. So, Gabby currently spearing the silencer to the tree. Looks like a very painful experience, John. Let's zoom in on that. Indeed it is. It's a lot of blood everywhere.
Halloween.
Spear right through the silencer. It's kind of a dream of mine, John, seeing silencers like this, as I do hate the hero. Gabby. He does have the God's Rebuke as well, so this should definitely be a dead Boom Bell.
Yeah. Looks like still having slight issues here, TNC, though. It's asking for a bit of a wait. Ping issues. Just an FYI to chat that's not aware, there's a massive typhoon coming into the Philippines. So that's going to be causing some issues. Yeah.
What was you said it was the biggest one in a long time, right?
I think the biggest typhoon across the world for this year.
Really?
With, I believe the estimated wind speed off the coast right now is like 300 kilometers per hour.
Jeez,
which
that's
to me is
quick.
Ridiculous. That is pretty ridiculous. And it's massive. So I'm not sure when landfall is due. It has been nice and cool here. I'm enjoying the weather for now. But when it does hit, I don't know how safe I'll be. And Boom Bell?
Gabby actually didn't get the kill yet. God's Rebuke is going to be out. Boom Bell trying to juke him out, but Gabby should definitely have the kill unless... Oh, the creep! Boom Bell's own creep blocking the way through the trees. That is treason. Gabby will put the creep to death.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate juking around there. Would have been nice, but that kill will allow them to push the top tier 1. Now, Jackie did take the bot tier 1. So it is going to be an even tower trade in terms of these tier 1 top and bot, but TNC's a step up with the mid tier 1 gone. So that top jungle is definitely not too safe now for MG.Trust, and this is what we're used to seeing from MG.Trust though. Jackie's playing on the opposite side of the map. So TNC has to watch the farming locations of this faceless void, and Jackie now needs to start farming like a madman, but there's a smoke here.
Yeah, Gabby, how are you going to break the gap though? That's the question. Doesn't have the blink yet, doesn't have the Yules up yet. He's just going to ignore it as Fearless now has moved in. Now, this will be a much easier kill to get, and Gabby is going to get a great arena off just on the edge. And that is a big pick off there onto Fearless, who is just trying to work towards his Aghanim Scepter. But as time goes on, Armel is only getting bigger, and TNC, they are well and truly on their way here to pulling off this game number 1.
They definitely are. They're hitting all their beats, they're getting control, they're finding these kills. And they keep smoking up here, MG.Trust. Jackie does have the Chrono with a Mask of Madness. They could try to find a kill. It's just very tricky again in these wider team fights.
Asaros, he's looking for a rupture here. Chrono going to be committed into the blood, right? Jackie going straight after Armel. He's out of mana. Armel's not as tanky as you'd hope, but the false promise, Whitemon, going to save the day as the Mortimer's Kisses come flying in. Jackie, he doesn't want to be here. He'll time walk in time. Back onto Tims and Armel. Going to survive, but no, the blood right. Masaros had it in time. Now going onto KB, onto Whitemon. They want to clean them up. Jackie at least got Tims, and now the roll in onto KB. They'll get another. And that was such a close call for Motivate. They almost lose Jackie. One more hit would have done it. But the time walk was there in time. And I was just saying TNC were doing such a great job, but that's going to mean a fair bit of golden XP going the way of MG.Trust.
Yeah, I think the one major factor was they got the Chrono on 2. So Jackie delivers in a big way. He catches the Venge and the Medusa. 2 heroes they didn't want inside there. The Global Silence as well is just being stacked perfectly by Boom Bell, breaking up the counter initiation from TNC. But with those spells down, I think TNC might be looking for an opportunity. They might go hunting here.
Fearless. Jules up Gabby with a nice setup there, but the TPs are going to come in. Spear going to be very easy to land, and It's only a TP in from Boombell so far, but here comes Masaros and Q. They'll get the rupture off Gabby. Probably doesn't want to die like this. He'll try to fight back. A great cookie in from Tims. Stunning up too. It may not matter though. Gabby, he will still die, and now it's on to Q. On that Earth Spirit, he's trying to run. He's got the magnetize, but it just doesn't matter. 2 for 1. In fact, if you count Fearless going down, it was a 3 for 1. Gabby, seeing those kills happen, will probably be pretty satisfied now.
And that's what TNC needs to do. After they see the committal of Global Silence and Chrono, they can reset, come back in. There's a massive window where MG.Trust cannot fight, and they just abuse that. So you have to be cautious as well, MG.Trust. After they blow their big team fight spells, they can't really fight. They've got to take the back seat, just farm on Jackie. Their top choose under threat. At least here, Masaros can actually kind of D-push really well on that Bloodseeker.
Oh, he can, unless he cops a cookie like that from Tims. Swap in now from KB. They want to go after him with the Mortimer's Kisses. I love Tims juggling those Mortimer's Kisses onto 2 at the same time. Boombell will lose half his HP in the process, as they do finally get that tier 2 top tower. Armel is slowly but surely on his way now to that Eye of Skadi pickup, as Q is going to roll in onto KB. Boombell, he hasn't been smart enough recently. He wants to get some more intelligence for himself, but he got stunned up again. Tim's a great cookie out, now turning back around. How dare you steal my brain cells, he says. Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Go read a book.
TNC just managing to really turn around here, Mike. Whitemon, can we talk about this Oracle going 7-1 to 9, Mike?
That's Whitemon, John. It's just, we said this in BTS Pro Series. When he was in Among Us version 1, I was asking the question over and over again, why is Whitemon not part of one of the big teams in SCA? Now he is standing in, and you can kind of see that he does a pretty darn good job.
He really does. His positioning's always on point. The Dispel to save KP. Now, MG.Trust has picked up a key item here. Ags up under Zeus. But that's an Ags rush for Fearless. Nothing else on hand. So they're going to have to maximize this Nimbus as it flies out. And at least some of that global strat you mentioned is starting to come into play. MG.Trust, they do have Chrono. They've got a Rupture. It's their turn to look for kills.
Jackie, he's been farming. He's got onto that BKB stage now, and he wants to try and get a kill. Onto Whitemon. It'll be a lot of gold because of his streak. They're not committing the Chrono yet. Still back on with the Chrono straight out to Arm. Or rather, Armel. Almost said Arbed. There's the Global Silence coming out. Armel trying to run. Swap out from KB. Armel's going to survive. Now with the Stone Gates, he'll fight back. Q going down with Masaros. And I think MG.Trust, they got a little bit greedy there, John. They went for the greedier Chrono, but they just don't have the damage output for Armel right now. In fact, Boombell, he's not out of the woods yet. Gabby going for even more. Has the Yules available with the spear, but can't really reach. Jackie will walk away, but he needs more damage. In fact, Gabby is going to blink straight in, gets the Yules off. Spear should be an easy setup, and it is. But do they have the damage output? Well, with the permastun, they do. Tims on the edge, cookie out from our Snapfire will get the kill.
Oh, it's just so clinical from TNC. They don't panic when they see the Void. They keep that distance. They keep separated. A one-man Chrono is not what you're looking for, especially on that Medusa. I mean, Armel's already got max level mana shield. He's got his Manta. There's some good stat padding there with the ultimate orb and point booster as well. You can't melt through with just the Mask of Madness, although they will try to fight.
I don't think they can. You don't have Chrono. You got Rupture, but that's not going to be enough. Armel can just stand there and hit you. Boombell going to try and turn around. They're going to Rupture up KP instead. Underneath the Nimbus, Cookie and heals out from Whitemon. Going to keep him safe. There's now another Bloodright going to come in, but Gabby is going to jump in with an Arena. He won't drop it yet. He'll wait for the right moment. Instead, they'll just go after Masaros, and there's your Arena now, catching out 3 where Armel could just walk in and just hit away. Arrows flying everywhere. Masaros and Fearless both gone down, and TNC are playing this perfectly.
They really are. Just the patience out from Gabby to land these spells, and the Nimbus here for Zeus. Like, he drops it in front, but Snapfire, little Shredder just rips right through it. It doesn't last for long, and the investment now in this Zeus Ags rush, not quite paying off. on top of that, MG.Trust, every time these spells are down, what can he do? Jackie can only just farm, and he has to work his way towards more damage.
Q running at Gabby. Gabby did not have the spear up. Doesn't want to bother with the Earth Spirit. Meanwhile, Jackie, looking at Tim's up in that top lane, is going to jump in with the time dilation. And the Nimbus to come. Tim's has help on the way. He will go down. Still Armel now. Going to show himself, but Jackie spots him out. He doesn't want to deal with him at the moment. He will just back off. And speaking of Armel, John, Skadi is up.
Jeez. Skadi Manta Power Treads had 20 minutes in.
Gabby misses a spear on Masaros. Bit of a shame there. Masaros would have almost certainly just been dead had that spear landed. Looks like he is going to be just fine. And would you believe it, John? Armel also has the Grove Bow. So just
perfect.
Gets everything he wants.
A Grove Bow with a Venge Aura. What else could you ask for here as the Medusa? And they go straight into the Roche Pit. There is a Chrono here from MG.Trust, so Jackie can contest if they wanted to, but they'd have to throw all their bodies in ASAP. It's not the fastest rush, but it's a steady one going here for TNC.
There's no damage though, that's the problem, right? Like you'd literally be committing Chrono just to try and steal the Aegis. It just doesn't seem worth it for Motivate to even try. They scan it out now, but even if they want to, it's not going to be quick enough for them to get here. They're going to just have to let it go down as Gabby just gets bashed constantly by Roshan, but it does eventually die. TNC, they smoke up with the Aegis on Armel, back down towards the south of the map. They'd love to run into Fearless right now. In fact, Boombill is going to get spotted by Gabby, but he's being patient, waiting for that right moment. They'll leave the courier back into the backlines. Boombill doesn't know which way to run at the moment and will just die. While Tims is looking for another target, and he knows Fearless is there. He'll get a cookie off with the Scanner Blast. Fearless, he'll try for the TP play. Is there going to be a stun in time? Not quite. KB could not TP in fast enough for the swap. However, Gabby found Masaros.
Yeah, it's just the perfect hunts here for TNC. They just jump around the map. They're punishing this farm up from MG.Trust. And this is where that homework comes into play. This is the exact same spot where MG.Trust was getting free farm on Jackie, and they are contesting it. They know MG.Trust game plan. MG.Trust will have to think of something else as Jackie's not ready. He still needs farm. He's lagging behind even Gabby's Mars right now, and you can't even measure him up against Armel. 14k on a Medusa, 23 minutes in. Skadi Manta with power treads into the Butterfly. And the Butterfly might intersect with Jackie's MKB. It's still going to be a very deadly item on this Medusa in terms of raw damage. And Armel's just so far ahead that he can push this tier 1 no worry by himself. There's a Chrono here and Armel just doesn't care.
He has no reason to care. Like, up until Jackie has the MKB, he is nowhere near going to have enough damage. And even with the MKB, I can't really say he would have enough damage for the Medusa. As long as that mana shield's up, how do you get through it? And on top of that, John, once you get to that 25 mark, you know, there's a plus 800 mana talent, and there's the split shot uses modifiers talent, both of which are pretty darn good. And if Armel's ahead, he will probably just skip the mana talent and go for the split shot modifier. With that Eye of Skadi, it becomes pretty darn broken.
Alright, it really does. It's just so hard to play against. And you love this way they TP around as well. They take the tier 2 bot. All outer towers gone for MG.Trust. They're just hunting now. They're trying to catch someone out, split pushing. They don't quite. And there are some decent wards now watching movement, although they might be able to find...
Got Q on the Earth Spirit. Whitemon there to help out. Whitemon would have loved to take the kill, but of course, Purifying Flames was on cooldown at the time, John. Couldn't take it. Mel, meanwhile, with a haste rune, rushing forward, seeing if he can find anyone. And does spot out Masaros, but doesn't really have a way to lock him down. And Jackie is going to come in. He just doesn't have damage, though. There's no way to kill him.
It's difficult. And Armel is actually opting for the Daedalus instead. So he has the Crystallis. So you have some small crits coming through. And that does mean at least you're not going to be countered by this MKB buildup in Jackie. So they can start to sort of slow shove this tier 3 outside of range, as Armel again with a Grove Bow and KP Zora can just make the safest push possible for TNC, just widening this lead. 26 to 14, 11k lead. MG.Trust. Oh,
Gabby.
Jackie.
Oh, he's got Jackie. They will not have enough stun. Jackie's going to time walk away. But KP looking for that swap, is going to be able to get it into Whitemon. The Global Silence is out, however, and that's going to slow things down. But Gabby has a blink back onto Jackie. Doesn't have another spear yet. Cookie not going to land either. But the great chase is on for Jackie. He's trying. He's got another time walk, but the Fortune's End is going to fly through, and that'll force out the BKB chance. Jackie's still going to run. Gabby spots him out, but they have no way. Well, they actually did have a swap, but they couldn't get it off in time. Jackie will make it.
That's his 10-second charge, though. Again, not the situation he'd like to use that. Rather unfortunate for MG.Trust, but they're really just trying their best to keep up in the farm. So Jackie's at least buying some space out. We are much more used to Jackie using space, though. So again, this is stalling out that timing into the MKB for our Faceless Void. Fearless does have an Aether Lens now, so he has a little bit more range, but you can see Armel doesn't care. Still has the Aegis for a few more seconds and just goes for another tier 3.
Oh, Armel, where's his Vengeful Spirit? He needs more range. Armel, come on, back off. You don't need to take tower hits, Armel. You've got a Venge and a Growth Bow. There you go. That's better.
Oh man.
He needs some vision. Of course, his supports haven't gotten him wards either, John. So poor Armel. But, you know, all this hard work hitting creeps and no observer wards. Meanwhile, Gabby apparently kills off Q down at the bot lane just by himself. And here comes the voice line spam once again. I'd like to ask you, John, Motivate.Trust, what can they do to come back now? It just seems like a very difficult game to come back to.
They've got to get a perfect team fight. We're talking about a 3-man chrono or a 2 to 3-man chrono, Global Silence on top, getting the instant burst off, landing your spells as the Zeus and as the Bloodseeker, and kind of going from there. I think the targets you're looking for, you can't afford to try Armelican. Like, even with the MKB, he does have his stats up. I think you will have to look for these supports, maybe KP. So KP or Tims or Whitemon have to go first. You can clean up afterwards. I'd say Whitemon's the highest priority, but look at this TNC. Again, no reason to be scared.
Oh, Jackie's got the MKB. He's going to give it a crack in KB. He got trapped in that chrono. Armel is dropping quick, but they do heal him up with the False Promise now out on Armel. He's going to turn back around, trying to fight this one out. KB is dropping low, but Gabby, he's killed off Fearless into Jackie. They got the Void. Armel does die, but what does it matter? They're getting everyone else on the side of Motivate.Trust and Q. Well, he's been left behind. He's going to die. Masaros, even he's not safe in his own base. As Gabby gonna spear him to his own building. They do buy back on the silencer, but Boombell is not gonna be able to do anything to help. And on the brighter side, John, they do kill off Armel. On the negative side, they've lost their whole team. They are gonna have to commit buybacks and probably still lose a Rax.
It's a lot slower going here for TNC in the push, though. Looks like they will keep it up, but that tower is not melting as fast. Still, it's just 2 heroes defending. But MG.Trust, they don't have their teamfight spells, Mike. No Chrono, no Global Silence.
Gabby.
They can't throw any spells out.
Nice spear back again into the building of the Dire, and Boombell will die back. This is looking like a very nice game here as they do repair kit up the melee barracks, and it looks like with Fearless spawning with Jackie, maybe they back off, and they do. They don't want to risk dying to Jackie as he does now have damage. But with a 17k net worth lead, TNC, there is no reason for them to try and rush this game.
No, they can take it late. They've got the Medusa. That scales spectacularly well. You've got ways of going for Tims to itemize and kind of get his talents up as well. And speaking of Tims, he does have the Ags, basically. So the Ags is almost just about ready to go, just about ready to be bought out here for the snap. So now you have this Gobble Up play with Medusa. Now you've got this Gobble Up play with Mars, and the Gobble Up saves as well, on top of that False Promise that Whitemon's been really on point with. MG.Trust need to be cautious.
Jackie's going to be alright. They aren't going to chase him down. This is all the Void can do right now, is just keep lanes pushed out. going to keep trying. Meanwhile, TNC happy to just take the triangle away. Mel looks like he is going to start working towards a satanic build-up. There's your Ags as well now on Tim's, finally being completed. And I wonder, do you just toss in Gabby on the Mars? Or do you even toss in Armel and just pop the Stone Gaze?
Yeah, either one is pretty darn good. I'd say Armel's probably the ballsier play. If you really are feeling that far ahead, it's a bit riskier. I think Gabby's a bit safer if you want to. And that does kind of give them more reach. Yeah, we were talking about maybe some slight catch issues, but it's definitely resolved now. MG.Trust. I mean, it's getting worse. Even Whitemon has the farm to save up for a Lotus Orb now. He's saving up for it. It's still 900 gold off, but that is still spectacularly fast for a pause 5. And KP, he's got a blink. So he can get himself in the right spot to get those swaps off. He can now set up for offensive swaps as well. And MG.Trust has to be so careful in this defense. They do have their spells back up. Chrono's ready to go. Rupture's ready to go. Thunder God's Rat is there as well. But TNC's not giving them any openings. They're just playing in this jungle, getting some farm. The Roche is up if they wanted to go for that first. Aegis and Cheese ready to go. And that might just be the next safe objective they take first.
Well, MG.Trust, it looks like they are aware of the Roche timer as they do smoke up. It's definitely something big for them, right? Like, they need to try and contest this Roshan somehow. With the Chrono, with all their ultimates, they definitely can give this a crack. If they win this team fight, MG.Trust may find themselves with a way back into this game. They'll get started. Jackie, he's just going to wait and hope somebody walks down to try and go into the pit. TNC, they seem to be well aware that they are around as their wards were getting de-warded. They'll smoke up themselves, and Gabby has a full heart up now. Jeez, he's a tanky boy. Into the dire jungle they go. G.Trust. Gonna try and back off, but Gabby, oh, he gets an arena. Jackie walks right into the arena. This is looking bad. He'll commit the Chrono, but look at the damage, John. He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing to Armel right now. He is getting through the mana, though. Jackie's gonna keep trying to fight this one out. The Stone Gaze, there's actually no mana left. He does make it work, Jackie. He does get the kill onto Whitemon. They get another. They even cancel the TP of Tim's. And I thought to myself, surely there's no way they kill Armel there. But Jackie, after the mana was expended, John, Armel, he didn't have enough to Stone Gaze. So Jackie just kept hitting away.
There's a bit of a mistake there from Tim's. He gobbled up Whitemon before Whitemon could use his spell, so he couldn't save Armel. And without the Oracle, that Medusa is a bit of a sitting duck if you have 3 heroes focusing it. So they've got to watch that gobble up. I think Tim's was just trying to break an initiation on the back, but it cost him big time.
Gabby gonna jump in, has an arena in 2 seconds, but Q is gonna roll back onto Gabby with the silence now, and Jackie, he's killed off one in the form of KB, but Gabby does kill off Fearless, but Gabby, he's a bit of a sitting duck now. He needs some help. A huge gobble up out from Tim's, but is it gonna be enough? Jackie wants to chase, and Q goes in as well, but Gabby still moving forward, still trying to go. They'll go on Tim's. The Snapfire in trouble, getting bashed up. Will Cookie away, but Jackie's not done yet. Not with the Snapfire. Back on. The false promise will be there from Whitemon, saving the day, but not for him. He will go down. Whitemon will die, but Q will as well. Jackie still chasing with Boombell. The Arcane Curse will be there, but they want to go back for the Roshan, or maybe not Jackie. He has the ward on the high ground. He has vision over TNC. But Armel is back. Gobble Up is out and does actually catch out Boombell here. Nice gobble up there from Tim's. And with that, they are into the Roshan pit. Jackie against the world. He's not going to be around to try and contest the Roshan and doesn't have Chrono anyway for it. TNC now. Going to move up through the mid lane, I think.
Yeah, they've got the second life. They've got the cheese available. They know Chrono's down for a little bit longer. Not quite that long, though. There is a global silence when you do get the silencer respawn. There is no buyback, though. Like, they did die back on Fearless, so that's something they have to be cautious about. But this butterfly should allow Jackie to survive a little bit more up front.
Oh, Spear. Oh, Gabby, he's not going to get the spear off. Q, he'll get the BKB in time. Rolling back in onto KB. Jackie does have the chrono back up now, but he wants a big one. We saw him deal with Armel earlier on. If he can make that happen again, he's got to go through 2 lives. But we've seen Jackie do better things than that, so we'll give him a chance here. Armel still, though, is just focusing down the racks, very confident with his own positioning. Gabby gonna jump in, nice arena out, catching 2, but the chrono in the backlines. Jackie going straight after that Medusa again. The Aegis is probably gonna go down as Armel. No, the false promise is there in time. Armel, he'll have another 10 seconds to fight this one out before he goes into his second life. They'll get Boombell and Fearless onto Gabby. He's just fine though to hold up the shield, and Armel is gonna survive through the false promise, getting a 3-for-0 trade. Whitemon saves the day and even saves the Aegis, and there's the GG, Jackie. He says there is no chance left in this game. And TNC, they do pull off game number 1.
Yeah, it was a very different draft coming through, but they managed to play really well with the Armel, Medusa, Gabby just so active on that Mars, stacking up kills. And MG.Trust, they tried to go back to this playstyle that we saw when they're behind. They play on the opposite side of the map. They tried to secure a farm for Jackie, sacrificing everyone else, except this time, TNC was ready. TNC kept wards down bot. TNC made the rotations down bot to gank up those heroes farming up. And that's something MG.Trust has to respect. They need to be aware that TNC perhaps understands their game plan and maybe look for a different approach in this matchup.
Well, all props to TNC though. I mean, the draft was executed just so well. And they just looked like they were playing in perfect unison this game. We'll see if they can keep it up in game 2. Motivate.Trust, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they're going to do. Of course, it is MLP Dota and JohnXfire, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes for our second game.